Trustee Kusak,
Present.
trustee Page,
Present.
trustee Martinez,
Present.
trustee Blair,
Present.
trustee Kagan. Nope. Trustee Annalise,
Present.
Mayor Cunningham.
Present.
Quorum established.
Thank you very much. If you would please join us in a moment of silence, which this evening we are dedicating to the honor and remembrance of September 11th, 2001, for all the lives that were lost, impacted, and all the sacrifices made on that day, as well as many months and years after. So after the moment of silence, we'll then go into the Pledge of Allegiance. And I would ask our audience members that are here this evening with us, if you would please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. So we'll take about a 30-second moment of silence and then ask that you lead us with the Pledge of Allegiance, please. Thank you.
I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Again, thank you all for joining us this evening. And we do have several items to share with everyone and special recognitions. And I'm going to start and ask trustee Jennifer Antilles to please read our first proclamation of the evening. And Jennifer, if you would please.
Thank you, Mayor. Our first proclamation. Whereas the Lisle Woodridge Fire Protection District serves and protects the lives and property of residents, businesses, and the community from the adverse effects of fire, sudden medical emergencies, or the dangerous conditions caused by man or nature. The Lisle Woodridge Fire Protection District skilled, trained, and dedicated firefighters and paramedics respond to emergencies 24 hours a day, 7 days a week in an effort to help people in need. And whereas in 1993, the Lisle Woodridge Fire District was the first fire district in the nation to earn the honor of being named the Insurance Services Office, ISO, Class 1 rating, and has maintained this ISO Class 1 rating for over 30 years. Whereas an ISO Class 1 rating represents an exemplary fire suppression program. It's reviewed through the Public Protection Classification Program. The ISO's purpose is to help communities evaluate their public fire protection services in order to be held to a high national standard. Whereas out of nearly 50,000 graded fire departments in the United States, less than 150 have earned the high ranking of Class 1 rating. The Lisle Woodridge Fire Protection District is one of 27 in Illinois that has this distinguished designation and one out of 477 in the United States. Therefore, on behalf of Mayor Gina Cunningham, Mayor of the Village of Woodridge, DuPage, Will, and Cook Counties, Illinois, hereby declare and proclaim Thursday, September 7th, 2023 through Sunday, September 10th, 2023 as Lisle Woodridge Fire Protection District Days in the Village of Woodridge, and urge all citizens of Woodridge to gratefully recognize the outstanding professionalism, dedication, bravery, and service of the Lisle Woodridge Fire District.
At this time, I would like to invite Commissioner John Perry and our Lisle Woodridge Fire District colleagues that are here with us this evening to please come to the podium. We have a proclamation that we would like to give and recognize you all. And thank you so much for being here this evening. It's an honor to have you here. Good evening, everyone. Good evening.
Thank you, Mayor Cunningham, and we are very pleased to be here. We have two stations in Woodridge, and we have representatives from Station 52 and 53, Woodridge Drive at Hobson and Woodridge Drive at 75th Street, with us today, including Battalion Chief Tim Bronowitz, and Brent Frank, our board president, send his regrets. He's out of state. And the fire chief is preparing to go on vacation. But he's very excited about this recognition and what it means to our two organizations. And Keith Creston, our chief, provided me a few words. I just wanted to note a few things that he shared. Public works staff were instrumental in collaborating with the fire district to provide ISO with the necessary documentation to grade the system. Water supply is 40% of the total score for this ISO rating. So it's really not just a fire district issue, it's a local community issue and depends very much upon collaboration between those two entities. We could not achieve ISO class 1 without an appropriate water supply. And Keith goes on to say, it is always a pleasure working with Chris Bethel and his staff. And I thank Chris for the work that he's done. And apparently Bob Myers and David Zalad also were key participants in putting the information together to give us this rating. Special thanks, Keith says, to the support of the Village of Woodridge and staff has provided to the fire district. He says class 1 village. So we're not only a class 1 fire district, but we're a class 1 village for the work that we've come to do together. And I have these gentlemen and young lady with us tonight to carry the plaque because I don't carry anything anymore. But I noted we have Battalion Chief Bronowitz, who is our new accreditation officer, and the fire district, a small piece really of its work is the ISO firefighting rating, but a big piece is all the other things we do, including the other emergency services, especially the emergency medical services. And we continue, I think, and I'm very proud of that, continue to improve because of both our accreditation and ISO 1 rating. And there are only about 160 agencies in the world that have both of those designations. So while ISO 1 is significant, having both of them is even more significant. So I thank all these folks in front of me for the work that they do to get us there and the support for the district from the Village of Woodridge. So thanks very much.
Thank you.
And Mayor Gina, I
Yep.
very much appreciate that. And why don't you share that with Deputy or Battalion Chief Bronowitz and Lieutenant Saylor can take it away, and Lieutenant Turin is here as well. So
Very honored to have you all here this evening, and I know Trustee Anthony would like to come down, but she has injured her leg. Unfortunately, is not able, so on her behalf as well as the village board, it's with great pride that we recognize really grateful hearts for all the excellent service and great professionalism. Yes, we can do it together and we really experience, and that's what this is all about. Today. Have a weekend. Okay, thank you very much. Can I give it?
thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Absolutely, sure can, yes.
Where do you want to take it? However you want to take
Okay,
it.
sure.
Okay.
You gotta go front side.
I'll take it. I'll take it. Oh, first. Mhm. You ready? One, two. Hold your pose. Here. Yeah, you're so welcome. Thank you. Okay, next, we do have a proclamation for National Hispanic Heritage Month. And we do have a representative here this evening that will be accepting the recognition and proclamation. And I've asked Trustee Martinez to please read the proclamation to our record.
All right. Whereas we celebrate National Hispanic Heritage Month and the rich history, culture, contributions, and importance of Hispanics and Latinos to our country and our community, and the American citizens whose ancestors came from Spain, Mexico, Cuba, the Caribbean, Central America, and South America. And whereas the Hispanic Heritage Observance began in 1968 as Hispanic Heritage Week under President Lyndon Johnson, President Ronald Reagan in 1988 expanded the observance to cover a month starting on September 15th and ending on October 15th. Hispanic Heritage Month was enacted into law on August 17th, 1988, on the approval of Public Law 100-402. And whereas the September 15th date is significant because it is the anniversary of independence for 5 Latin American countries: Costa Rica, El Salvador, Guatemala, Honduras, and Nicaragua. In addition, Mexico and Chile celebrate their Independence Days on September 16 and September 18th, respectively. Also, Columbus Day, or Dia de la Raza, which is October 12th, falls within the 30-day period. And whereas the 2023 national theme for the observance is Prosperity, Power, and Progress, the theme recognizes the significant achievements of the Hispanic community in the economic and political industries. And whereas today, Hispanics, from the largest ethnic and racial minority group in the United States, with over 62.6 million population, in 2019, Hispanic constituted 18.5% of the nation's total population. Hispanics are advancing our economy, improving our communities, and bettering our country. And whereas during National Hispanic Heritage Month, we honor and celebrate the rich and vibrant traditions of Hispanic and Latino faith, family, hard work, and patriotism, we're grateful for the innumerable contributions they make to our society, which are vital to our community. Now, therefore, Gina Cunningham, Mayor of the Village of Woodridge, DuPage, Will, and Cook Counties of Illinois, in recognition of Hispanic Americans, past and present in our community, do hereby proclaim September 15th, 2023 to October 15th, 2023 as National Hispanic American Heritage Month, and encourage all residents to celebrate our diverse heritage and culture and continue the efforts to create a world that is more just, peaceful, and prosperous for all. And I also would like to introduce Debbie Collins, who's here. She's a member of the HRAC group, and she will be receiving the plaque, right?
Yes, thank you very much, Trustee Martinez. And thank you very much, Debbie, for being here this evening and carrying forth the proclamation to the HRAC group. And please thank everyone for their dedication and hard work, helping our community grow and celebrate all of Woodridge. Thank you very much. We do have one more proclamation, and Trustee Krusek, if you would, this is regarding Constitution Week, please.
Whereas our founding fathers, in order to secure the blessings of liberty for themselves and their posterity, did ordain and establish the Constitution for the United States of America. And whereas it is of the greatest importance that all citizens fully understand the provisions and principles contained in the Constitution in order to effectively support, preserve, and defend it against all enemies. And whereas the 233rd anniversary of the signing of the Constitution provides a historic opportunity for all Americans to remember the achievements of the framers of the Constitution and the rights, privileges, and responsibilities they afforded us in this unique document. And whereas the independence guaranteed to American citizens, whether by birth or naturalization, should be celebrated by appropriate ceremonies and activities during Constitution Week, as designated by proclamation of the President of the United States of America in accordance with Public Law 915. Now therefore, Gina Cunningham, Mayor of the Village of Woodridge, DuPage, Will, and Cook Counties, Illinois, does hereby proclaim the week of September 17 through September 23, 2023 as Constitution Week in the Village of Woodridge, and urges all citizens to reaffirm the ideals the framers of the Constitution had in 1787 by vigilantly protecting the freedoms guaranteed to us through this guardian of our liberties, remembering that lost rights may never be regained.
Thank you very much, Trustee Krusek. Just want to let everyone know that the next item, if you have our agenda this evening, we will be moving the resolution for the trustee, or excuse me, employee of the quarter to a future meeting. Last, we have, and not least, is an introduction, and I believe our Assistant Village Administrator, Peggy Halleck, will be coming forward to the podium and introducing our newest colleague here at the village. And we're very excited to have her and her family here.
Yes, we are very excited to have her.
Thank you, Heather.
So it's my pleasure to introduce Heather Hudson to you today as our new Human Resources Manager. We are so happy to have her with us. She started with us just last Monday. So Heather joins us from after serving the DuPage County Human Resources Department for almost 20 years. We're keeping a close eye on our cameras to make sure they don't try to come and get her back because we want her here. She has extensive experience in all aspects of human resources, and she has hit the ground running. Her very first day here was a BOPC meeting. So we kept her here from morning to night, and she came in just like a pro. She's been facilitating our lateral hire process already. I think you said on what, 5 interviews today?
3 today, couple next week.
Yeah, she's right in it. And we've had some issues that we've been trying to kind of tee up that Heather has helped us through already so far in the last 8 days, right? So we're so excited to have her here. She really just brings so much experience. She's already providing lots of resources to me, giving us great guidance. I've heard nothing but good things from everybody who's interacted with her. So we're so excited to have her here. I just want to kind of share with you that before she even came here, she asked me, could I have a copy of all of your contracts, your rules and regs, your personnel manual, any policies that might be helpful for me to understand. And then on her own time, she went through all of them. She came in on day 1 and was able to tell me, well, no, your handbook says this, and your BOPC rules say that. She did all that on her own before she even walked in the door, because it's really important to her that she knows what her organization is all about and that she can provide value right from the start. And we are so excited to have that kind of service, that kind of enthusiasm and passion. And that's what she's shown us since we met her, right? So I want to also introduce her family. She's here with her husband, Frank, and her daughter, Brooke, and son, William. And we're excited to have them here as well. We appreciate them coming in to support their mom, right? So thank you and joining us to welcome Heather. We're so excited to have her.
Well, thank you very much. And we're so excited, as you can tell, you can hear it. Thank you very much for hitting the ground, and a lot of ground right away. It's just a warmest welcome from the village board, the Village of Woodridge, all of our neighbors throughout the community. What you do impacts every person here at the village, which impacts every person throughout our community and our businesses. So we thank you very much for your eagerness, your great background and what you bring here, and have already been working with us. So I know that great things will be coming, and we're just very, very excited to have you part of the team here. So thank you and welcome. If you'd like to say a few words, otherwise You don't have to, but I offer that to you. Again, welcome and thank you very much. And we're excited for 50 years of being here for your future.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And everyone here has been so welcoming, so kind. I feel honored that you want me to be a part of your team. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you again. Thank your family. Thank you. Okay, we will now move to the portion of the meeting, comments from our public. Going to start with comments that are not related to this evening's agenda. Going to ask, after we pause here, to acknowledge any written comments or communications that have been received prior to the meeting that do not, relate to tonight's agenda, and enter those into the public record, please.
Mayor, we did not receive any written comments. However, we have one person wishing to speak tonight.
Yes, hi. If you would like to step up, good evening and welcome. If you'd like to step up to the podium, going to have our village attorney just provide a little bit of instruction. Okay, thank you. And thanks for being here.
So before you start, I'll have you introduce yourself and where you live, and you'll have 3 minutes to speak. And if you start running close to time, I'll let you know. Okay? Go right ahead.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Drake Cody. I'm a senior at Bennett Academy. I live in Naperville. And I would like to start off by thanking you all for this opportunity. I'm here tonight to help raise awareness about an issue that is important to me, that being equal pay for workers with disabilities. What if I told you that it's perfectly legal for a business to pay individuals with disabilities a lower wage for completing the same amount of work? I'd like to introduce to you a law that was a part of the New Deal from 84 years ago and still exists today in the majority of our country. Known as 14C, this law allows for companies to pay workers with disabilities sub-minimum wage, in some cases as little as $2 an hour, and it's completely legal. 14C was originally designed to support people with disabilities in the workforce, but has since become a mechanism to suppress their growth while providing cheap labor for businesses. Additionally, 14C is fraught with abuse. In fact, the Department of Labor handed out the largest fine to an establishment with a 14C certificate to a group here in Illinois. In October of 2022, the Department of Labor reported that Illinois ranks second in the nation in the number of 14C certificates either issued or currently pending. At our state level in 2021, Governor Pritzker signed a bill that eliminated all state contractors from using 14C, and a few representatives in Illinois are drafting legislation to eliminate it completely. My goal tonight is to raise awareness of this issue at the local level and encourage this body to research it more and determine if it's appropriate for businesses in this town to be afforded this opportunity. Thank you again for your time. If you have any questions, I can do my best to answer them.
First of all, on behalf of all of us, thank you very much for coming and speaking here this evening. I'm going to extend the question if anyone does have any questions for Drake, if you would like to ask them. Otherwise, we will note in the record, as well as I think your words were very impactful. Familiar with this, and we thank you very much for really maybe being a voice for some others that are voiceless, but also being an advocate. So thank you very much.
Thank you very
Appreciate you
much.
being here.
Thank you.
Thank you. Going to ask if anyone else in our audience would like to address the village board on items that are not related to this evening's agenda. Seeing no one, will go ahead and move to items that are on this evening's agenda. Going to ask if there's any written public comments that have been received prior to the meeting this evening that do appear on tonight's agenda, and if so, we would enter those into the public record. Administrator Stonich?
Mayor, we have not received any written
Okay,
comments.
thank you. Open up to our audience here this evening. If anyone would like to address the village board on items that do relate to this evening's agenda, to please step up to the podium. Seeing no one again, if not, we will go ahead and move to our omnibus agenda this evening. Going to ask for a motion to approve items A through F and acceptance of G through K. Motion, please. So moved. Thank you, trustee Page. A second.
Second.
Thank you, trustee Martinez. Is there a request for any item to be considered separately this evening? Seeing none, I'm going to ask our administrator to please review the items on our omnibus.
Thank you, Mayor Cunningham. Members of the board, good evening. Item A, Resolution 2023-63 is a resolution awarding year 2 of the Village of Downers Grove joint bid CFB 78-0-22-DM. This is for the hydrant sandblasting and painting contract. This is an award to Musket Painting and Decorating out of East Dundee, Illinois, in the amount of $24,458. Item B, ordinance 2023-24, an ordinance exempting the Woodridge Park District from certain provisions of Title III, Chapter 4, Section 3-4D-3, subsection C of the Village Code regarding reimbursement of the cost of village services related to supporting the Woodridge Park District's annual Oktoberfest event. Item C, Resolution 2023-64, as a resolution approving certain extensions of time for the special use permit related to the Citgo gas station at 75th and Janes. Item D, Resolution 2023-65, resolution authorizing the mayor and clerk to execute an agreement with Lauterbach and Amen for our auditing services. Item E, Resolution 2023-66, resolution authorizing the mayor and village administrator to execute a certain agreement for grant funding between the Village of Woodridge and the Illinois Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity for the snow and ice control rock salt storage facility. Item F, ordinance 2023-25, an ordinance granting approval of a minor amendment to a site plan for Hobson Corner Park at 2910 Hobson Road for a new patio and shade structure. Item G, H, I, J, and K are prior meeting minutes. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Going to ask our clerk to please call the roll.
Trustee Page,
Aye.
trustee Martinez.
Aye.
Trustee Blair,
Aye.
trustee Annalise.
Aye.
Trustee Krusek.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you all very much. Under the mayor's report, I do have a few items. On Monday, September 11th, the National Day of Remembrance. Please join us here at the Village of Woodridge on Monday, September 11th at 8:30 a.m. at Kagan Plaza, which is just outside of our Village Hall and in front of the Woodridge Public Library, as we come together and remember all the sacrifices that are forever in our hearts and in our minds. If you are unable to attend our service, please consider taking a moment of silence from wherever you are in remembrance at 8:46 a.m. Additionally, here in the Village of Woodridge, we encourage our neighbors to honor and show support of our Woodridge police officers and our Lisle Woodridge firefighters, Darien Woodridge, and Lamont Woodridge firefighters from now, today, through September 17th by displaying a blue or red light on your porch lights, showing your respect and honor. The annual Community Recognition Program here at the Village Woodridge is a long-standing tradition. It's where we recognize people and organizations and businesses that provide positive contributions within Woodridge we recognize them through our Community Recognition Program. So if you know someone or a business who deserves to be recognized, please look on our website with all the information which will be listed, and you can go right on there and you can submit your nomination. It is a wonderful annual nomination, and I hope that every citizen in Woodridge proudly takes advantage of this great program and nominates a neighbor, a business, or an organization that is so deserving. Lastly, Citizens Leadership Academy here at the Village of Woodridge is this fall beginning on September 19th and will continue to October 24th. It's where you can learn more about the Village of Woodridge and how local government functions during the 6-week-long community education program. And it takes place on Tuesday nights from 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. If you're interested in participating, please contact Andy at the Village of Woodridge, and her information will be put right online on our website. And Andy is here this evening. Thank you, Andy, for heading this up, as well as just want to thank everyone, all of our neighbors and our businesses for staying connected to the Village of Woodridge and making all of this possible. There's lots of great things that are coming forward, and it's just wonderful to be able to share with everyone. So being connected through e-news, through our social media is great. And of course, seeing you in person is wonderful. Please take great care and do stay connected to us at the Village of Woodridge. That is my report. Administrator Stonich, your report, please.
Thank you, Mayor. First item A is Resolution 2023-67. It's a resolution waiving the competitive bidding process and authorizing the village administrator to execute the purchase of 4 new liquid de-icing tanks from Kaplan Liquid Solutions in the amount of $40,557. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm looking for a motion, please, to approve Resolution 2023-67.
So moved.
I heard trustee Krusek and trustee Blair, so I have a first and a second. Any discussion on this item? Seeing none, if our clerk would please call the roll.
Trustee Martinez.
Aye.
Trustee Blair,
Aye.
trustee Annalise,
Aye.
trustee Krusek,
Aye.
trustee Page.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Item B, ordinance 2023-26, an ordinance amending the village code of the Village of Woodridge, Title 5, Chapter 7, Article E, Section 5-7E-1. This is an ordinance that would revise several village code sections concerning the regulation of the sale, purchase, and possession of synthetic cannabinoids.
Going to ask for a motion to approve ordinance 2023-26, please.
So moved.
I'm going to have the motion called by trustee Antilles and a second by trustee Krusek. Any further discussion on this item? If our clerk would please call the roll.
Trustee Blair,
Aye.
trustee Annalise,
Aye.
trustee Krusek,
Aye.
trustee Page,
Aye.
trustee Martinez.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Next, item C, resolution 2023-68. It's a resolution accepting the report and action plan prepared by the Metropolitan Mayor's Caucus as part of its Homes for Changing Region study that was conducted for the village. And Director Kimberly Clark is here to provide an introduction.
Thank you. Good evening. We are here tonight. We have an opportunity to take advantage of some resources that were available to us to have a better insight into our community, specifically when it's looking at our housing needs. So we were able to be a part of a study here, which came up with some information that we've shared with the group tonight. But we have the Metropolitan Mayor's Caucus here, who was instrumental in this entity in putting this together. So I'd like to have them come forward here. Ben Chanel with the Mayor's Caucus group will introduce the team and then go over the action plan as well. So I'll turn it over to him. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening and welcome.
Thank you. My name is Ben Schnelly. I'm with the Metropolitan Mayor's Caucus, and like Kimberly said, I'm here to present and discuss a housing action plan that was prepared for the Village of Woodridge. Just want to start by saying thank you, Mayor Cunningham, and thank you to the whole Board of Trustees for the opportunity to present tonight. I know the time is valuable, so we appreciate it. And also want to say thank you to the village staff and stakeholders, many community members who participated in meetings throughout this process, and all of the residents who participated in the community survey. Their insight was essential to this whole housing action plan. So I'll take about 10 minutes to briefly summarize the key findings. But before I get started, I just wanted to give a chance for my 2 colleagues who drove this way to introduce themselves, if that's all right.
Yes, please. Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for having us here this evening. I'm Nancy Furfer. I'm a senior advisor with the Metropolitan Mayor's Caucus, and it is a pleasure to be here and to have worked in the community with all of you. I'm the former village president of Glenview, having worked on redeveloping the Glen, which was that former Naval Air Base in Glenview, and it's nice to see a few friends here from my days back then. Since that time, after I left office, I worked with several organizations, and one of the founders of the Homes for Changing Region project, which over time you are one of over 60 communities we've worked with throughout this process. And I'm here also with my fellow comrade in arms here, King Harris, who began this with me and the Mayor's Caucus. It's been 17 years ago. And so it's been a pleasure working here. You have a great community, by the way. We have really enjoyed working here. I know you're all proud of where you live and for good reason. So thank you for allowing us to be here. And with that, King, I don't know if you wanted to say a few words.
I will echo Nancy's comment. It's a pleasure to work here. I'm King Harris. I'm the board chair of the Illinois Housing Development Authority, and I've been very intrigued, really getting more familiar with Woodridge today. A little sidelight. A long time ago, my uncle and a group of investors, including me, were the ones who built 7 bridges. So
Third.
nice to be here. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you, Mayor, for the opportunity for them to introduce themselves. We're very lucky to have them as part of the Homes for a Changing Region team.
Yes, and we're very pleased that they're here this evening. So thank you very much, Ben.
Thank you. We're getting started. The Homes for a Changing Region program, as Nancy said, has been around since 2005. It's worked with over 60 communities. So basically 1 in 5 suburbs of our region have a Homes for a Changing Region action plan. And it's today it's a partnership between the Metropolitan Mayor's Caucus, a consultant called Brick Partners, and the Illinois Housing Development Authority. The Illinois Housing Development Authority is our funder. So we're able to provide this resource to communities at no cost to the municipality. And the mission of the Homes for a Changing Region program is to help communities throughout the Chicago region achieve a balanced and healthy housing stock. With each Homes for a Changing Region engagement, there's a few key steps in the process. First, we ask, what are the top housing issues in the community? And to learn this, we meet with village staff and stakeholders. We do data analysis, of course, but also a community survey, which here in Woodridge was especially helpful. After identifying the top housing issues, we bring together a panel of experts. These are people who have addressed the same issues in similar communities. And they can talk with village stakeholders about potential steps that they've seen be helpful in other communities that the village of Woodridge can consider. And to finalize and bring everything together, we pull those 2 steps. The first step, the top housing issues. The second piece, what are some potential next steps that the village can take? And that constitutes the housing action plan, which I'll briefly summarize here tonight. So to start off, I'll summarize the key data findings of top housing issues. Number 1, the housing stock here in Woodridge. As you all know, Woodridge is a relatively young community compared to many other communities in the region, but there is a portion of the housing stock that is aging, over 40 years old. And while most of it is in really great condition, at that age, that's when we start to see more frequent needs for repairs. The second key finding is the aging population. In Woodridge and everywhere across the region, there's a growing number of older adults and seniors. And it's important for these seniors to have housing options that allow them to remain in the community, even as their physical needs change over time and even as their financial needs change over time. The third key finding was about rental costs. Here in Woodridge, about half of renters are struggling with housing costs, paying more than 30% of their monthly income on housing. And this issue is particularly felt by Woodridge renters with modest incomes. Of those renters earning less than $50,000 per year, almost all, 90% of that group, are paying more than 30% of their monthly income on housing. The fourth key finding is about the homeowner market. As I'm sure you're all familiar, housing prices have changed a lot in the past 10 years. In fact, in Woodridge over the past 10 years, home values have risen at twice the rate of incomes, not only in Woodridge, but across the region. So there's 2 sides to this. It's great for current homeowners and it's great for the village's tax base, but it also presents a challenge for potential first-time home buyers, people who rent in Woodridge but would like to buy their first home here. So after identifying these issues, we brought together a panel of experts, as we call them, to talk about resources for housing rehabilitation. And the second half of that panel was options for communities like Woodridge that we call built out. Communities that have very few undeveloped land available. You know, Woodridge is almost completely developed. So what are the options that a community like this has to meet current housing needs, even with limited land available? So as a result of that expert panel, the Homes for a Changing Region team brought together 5 recommendations for the village of Woodridge to consider. And how we say this with every community is this is a menu of options for you to consider. You can carry any or all of them forward. So the first recommendation is to link properties to available rehabilitation programs. The second recommendation deals with multifamily rental properties specifically. How can these property owners improve the conditions over time while also sustaining the current affordability over the long term? The third recommendation is exploring the potential of an updated accessory dwelling units ordinance. And the fourth recommendation is an update to Woodridge's comprehensive plan to set a community vision and identify the best use of the few remaining undeveloped sites and how they can potentially be used to address housing needs. The fifth recommendation is to engage Woodridge employers in local housing discussions and initiatives. So that's the recommendations at a high level. Now I'll walk through each of these still at a high level, giving a brief summary and can answer any questions afterwards. The first recommendation is linking properties to available rehabilitation programs. We've learned that the village staff are very great about connecting homeowners to existing resources such as the DuPage County Single Family Home Repair Program. But there are a few other resources that exist that the village can help residents and property owners take advantage of. The first is called the Multifamily Energy Savings Program. This is administered by a nonprofit called Elevate Energy. It's for multifamily buildings with 3 or more units. It can provide significant financial resources to these property owners. For example, it could cover a majority of the cost of an aging HVAC unit. It could cover half of the cost of an aging boiler unit. And since the village already has contact information through its rental inspection and registration programs, it can let these property owners know about the resource. And as village staff are performing inspections in rental properties, they can also identify buildings that would be especially helped by this resource and directly refer those property owners to Elevate Energy. Elevate offers a similar resource for single-family homes. And for this, the village could, of course, let all residents know through village communications, but also catch homeowners as they're going through the building permit process for remodels and refer them to Elevate Energy. Another helpful referral could be the Home Repair and Accessibility Program offered by the State Housing Finance Agency, the Illinois Housing Development Authority. This is an income eligible program for owners of single family homes and also condos, which is great in Woodridge because there are many condos here as well. It can provide up to $45,000 for rehabilitation or even accessibility improvements to homes. And it can provide up to $21,000 for roof projects. There are 2 nonprofits in DuPage County that already administer the program, so the village can let residents know about these nonprofits. But thinking creatively moving forward, the village could encourage other nonprofits in DuPage County or even DuPage County itself to apply to IDA to distribute the funding and help additional resources flow to this part of the region. The second recommendation is connecting multifamily rental properties to resources that improve both the quality and the affordability of these options. There are 2 resources, one from the state and one from a nonprofit called the Preservation Compact that provide funding to help existing property owners make improvements to their rental properties while also sustaining the affordability of these options over the long term. And this is particularly relevant here in Woodridge because you do have several older multifamily rental properties, and they do provide a great value to the community, providing more affordable options for Woodridge's workforce. But with these older multifamily rental properties, sometimes there are significant or unanticipated repair needs that could jeopardize the affordability over the long term. And that's where these resources could step in. So to help existing property owners take advantage of these 2 resources, the village could, of course, inform them and let them know through the database of contact information that you have. But you could also convene these existing property owners in person to hear from these organizations and learn about the resources. Moving on to the third recommendation, which is exploring potential of an updated accessory dwelling units ordinance. I'll first start with a definition. An accessory dwelling unit is a second smaller dwelling unit on a single family residential lot. And Woodridge currently allows accessory dwelling units, but only in very limited select cases. Now, why should Woodridge consider an updated ordinance? Well, there are several benefits. As I mentioned earlier, Woodridge has a growing number of seniors, just like the rest of the region. And ADUs, or accessory dwelling units, provide an option for seniors to transition seamlessly from a single family home, which may have many steps, to an accessory dwelling unit, which is typically a single story. It's typically designed to be accessible, where everything that person needs is on the first floor. ADUs can also provide options for multiple generations of a family to live close by, which has many benefits. For example, a grandparent could live in the ADU, and the younger generations could live in the single family home, and the grandparent could help provide childcare throughout the day. And ADUs also offer benefits to the entire community because they do increase housing options and the local tax base without altering the character of a neighborhood that a larger redevelopment might do. So there are a dozen suburban communities in our region that have adopted an ordinance to allow and regulate ADUs, but there is definitely no one-size-fits-all approach. We are not recommending Woodridge copy and paste any ordinance from another community, but we did find that there's one clear lesson from these communities, and that a first step is always engaging the local leadership and engaging local residents. So during the expert panel that we had in June, we heard from the village of Oak Park. And while it's a very different community than Woodridge, there's a process that Oak Park went through that we think could be helpful for Woodridge to emulate. So in Oak Park and potentially in Woodridge, village staff provided educational workshops for the Plan Commission and Village Board to help with understanding ADUs and the many ways that a community can tailor how they regulate ADUs to the specific local needs. So along with that educational workshop upwards to leaders, village staff can provide educational workshops outwards to residents and help build understanding of ADUs, and also hear important concerns from residents that they may have about ADUs and how that could factor into an ordinance. So that's the next steps that we're offering Woodridge to consider about accessory dwelling units. Moving on to the fourth recommendation, which is updating Woodridge's comprehensive plan. We found it interesting that in the community survey that was part of this process, the most common topic and the most common word was not anything to do with housing, but it was local retail. People wanted to focus on local retail options, even in a housing survey. And so in an update to the comprehensive plan, Woodridge could come up with a comprehensive approach to supporting local retail and reducing vacancies. But thinking specifically about housing, an update to the comprehensive plan could help Woodridge identify how the remaining undeveloped sites can be best used to address the housing needs of today and the housing needs of tomorrow. So much has changed, as you know, since 2007 when the comprehensive plan was last updated, and this is especially true when it comes to housing. This analysis found 3 current housing needs in Woodridge. The first is affordable senior housing. So as I said earlier, Woodridge is home to a growing number of older adults and seniors, but also many seniors with limited incomes. About 1 in 4 seniors in Woodridge earn less than $35,000 per year. Senior housing was also one of the top housing issues mentioned in the survey. So an additional affordable senior housing option, second to the Horizon option that you have, could be helpful here in Woodridge. And there's also a need for rental options that are affordable to Woodridge's workforce. I mentioned earlier that many renters here in Woodridge with modest incomes are struggling with housing costs. So adding additional rental options for these workers and students could help them have stable housing and remain in the community. And as you all know, there's great demand for home ownership options, especially at moderate price points. So townhomes or small lot, single-family homes could help meet this need. These are three housing needs that the Homes for a Changing Region team identified. But ultimately, where these housing needs might be a good fit in the community, that's a decision for local leadership to make. And an update to the comprehensive plan could be an ideal time to focus on that topic of how remaining sites could be used for these housing needs. Moving on to the final fifth recommendation, which is engaging Woodridge employers in local housing discussions and initiatives. So local employers have a particular interest in their employees living close by to their work, especially for employers with jobs that don't offer virtual options or remote work options. So for example, in the southern portion of Woodridge and the business park, we've learned that there's a number of locally owned businesses that may be interested in participating in local housing discussions. As part of the next steps, Woodridge could convene leaders of local businesses to discuss the village's housing needs, housing vision, and housing initiatives, and also learn about the needs of employees of these employers. And then from there, explore potential next steps of mutually beneficial work of how the village and these employers can understand needs and work together for shared goals when it comes to housing. So that brings us to the end of this housing action plan. Again, as I said earlier, this is a menu of options for the village to consider. You can carry any or all moving forward. And I'd also just like to say thank you again to the village staff, village plan commission members who attended our meetings, and the many community members who participated in the survey. All of that insight was incredibly helpful, and we were very lucky to work with them. So I'll end there and say that my colleagues and I are happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Thank you very much, Ben, and what a great presentation and excellent works here in Woodridge. We really appreciate that very much. Also Nancy and Kay, thank you. I'd like to open it up to the village board. If anyone has any questions or comments to follow up. The information is great. I know that Director Clark has been working diligently with her team, Gabby, et cetera, and we will continue working forward on this, and our best and appreciation to MMC for doing this type of study and program right here in Woodridge. It is very beneficial at a critical time here in our community. So thank you all very much for the great works, and we look forward to carrying this forward in some way, and we know we have more work to do. So appreciate that very much. This is very helpful. Thank you. We appreciate it very much.
Thank you. We're very lucky to work with you. So thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Thank you for coming out this evening. Appreciate it very much.
Mhm.
Next item D, resolution 2023-69, a resolution authorizing the purchase of a utility vehicle to replace the police department's 2 all-terrain vehicles.
To ask for a motion to approve resolution 2023-69, please.
So moved.
Thank you, trustee Page, and a second.
Second.
Thank you, trustee Blair. Any discussion on this item? Going to ask our clerk to please call the roll.
Trustee Annalise,
Aye.
trustee Krusek,
Aye.
trustee Page,
Aye.
trustee Martinez.
Aye.
Trustee Blair,
Aye.
motion passes.
And then we are going to step back. We do have to revisit item C, which is related to the Metropolitan Mayor's Caucus, part of their Homes for a Change region study that they did here in Woodridge. Administrator Stonich.
Yes, Mayor, just that it is a report and we have a proposed resolution for you to accept the report and the findings. So just be seeking a motion from the board.
Thank you very much. I'm going to ask for a motion to approve that resolution, which is resolution 2023-68, please.
So moved.
Thank you, trustee Martinez, and a second.
I'll second.
Thank you, trustee Antalese. Any discussion on this item? If our clerk would please call the roll.
Trustee Annalise,
Aye.
trustee Krusek,
Aye.
trustee Page,
Aye.
trustee Martinez,
Aye.
trustee Blair.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Moving to item E, ordinance 2023-27 is an ordinance approving a map amendment from R1 to M1. This is a special use for truck repair with accessory sales. This preliminary plat of subdivision to consolidate 2 lots and preliminary site plan review. This is at 11321 Joliet Road, and company is GTS Transportation. Representatives are here tonight, and Director Clark will have a brief presentation.
Great, good evening. Up above there, you'll see the map of the property there on Joliet Road. It's Joliet Road is a major corridor there of industrial development, and this property has been sitting here for quite some time, and the new owners here are looking to bring some new life to it, which the plans are actually very exciting to see how they're going to actually invest in the property. So the property is an R1 zoning, and that is because when the village went ahead and started to annex properties in this corridor, they gave them the R1 zoning, knowing that over time, when they redeveloped or new properties came, they'd be coming forward and making the map amendment to bring the property in compliance with the uses that are there. It is not a single family area. It is a industrial business park. And so that is why the request for the map amendment is here. The property, this is how it used to actually sit. This is an older aerial. It's pretty vacant now, but it was a storage facility for quite some time. You could see a lot of boats and trailers being stored there. It's a large piece. Here's the street view on Joliet Road. It's at an intersection there, a signalized intersection. I think we'll be very pleased with how it will improve. You see it's a gravel parking lot, probably no stormwater management practices on the site. There's an older structure that will be torn down. As you can see, it just kind of is ready for redevelopment here. So here's our site. We're going to take about 5 acres of land here. All the structures will be removed. We'll have a 2-story, 21,000 square foot facility. And that's what you see in blue. They will have offices, and they will have truck repair, sales operating out of this location. I'd like to mention the group is GTS. They're currently out of Burr Ridge, and they are a family-owned company of about 14 years. They will be bringing this new facility here to Woodridge and employing quite a few people. And here you'll see the parking lot will be utilized for semi parking. That's their main industry here, is the repair and sales of truck trailers. They will also have areas for just truck space, and then they have up in front along Joliet Road is where they're going to be highlighting the trucks for sale, and that will be the display area up there along Joliet Road. Then we have the regular parking that will be throughout the site for the customers and the employees. There will be a small detention basin there along Joliet Road, along the entrance, and they will be providing some fencing around the property as well. They're actually going to do a nice decorative fence along the front of Joliet Road. Obviously, there is some security needs here, but we were trying to make the site still attractive, and therefore we'll have an open style fence in the front, and in the back will be a solid privacy fence. Here's the facility. And here will be the site after it's nicely landscaped, bringing some more green space to the area that's currently not there. And our comprehensive plan outlines this area for office research and light industrial. We have some logistics facilities already along this corridor, and we felt that the M1 district was more appropriate for the type of use and what is here already. Just north of the site, we just recently brought in another logistics company, Fab Express, and we also brought them under the M1 zoning. And that is mostly because of the outdoor storage needs, which is where the M1 zoning is best utilized for that. So we believe it's in line with what our goals are for the comprehensive plan for this area. So a motion was made by the Plan Commission in favor of the map amendment to rezone from R1 to M1, which will bring the property in compliance. In addition to approving the special use permit, which is needed for the truck repair and the accessory truck sales. That is not currently identified in our code, so it's part of the special use for the truck repair. And the approval of a preliminary plat of subdivision, they will be taking this property and consolidating some parcels and bringing it forward with their site plan. The conditions that the petitioner will apply for and receive final site plan and subdivision plat as part of the approval before receiving their building permit. So we do have the owner, Tom, here as well. He will be bringing his business here, and we have his attorney, George Arnold, here if there's any other questions. But we think this will be a project that will definitely be an addition to this corridor. And I think the Plan Commission was very pleased with the effort that they put in the site plan, as was staff. They pretty much did everything we asked for when it came to screening and landscaping. And it's always good to work with people like that.
Thank you. Going to ask if any members of the board have any questions at this time. Okay, thank you very much. Appreciate it. So we do have before us, I'm going to ask for a motion regarding and approving ordinance 2023-27, please.
So moved.
Thank you, trustee Page, and a second.
Second.
Thank you, trustee Krusek. Any further discussion or questions on this matter? Hearing none and seeing none, if our clerk would please call the roll.
Trustee Krusek,
Aye.
trustee Page,
Aye.
trustee Martinez.
Aye.
Trustee Blair.
Aye.
Trustee Annalise.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you very much and welcome to Woodridge. We're very excited about this and thank you for your investment and doing the great works that you'll be doing here in Woodridge. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Last item F, resolution 2023-70 is a resolution authorizing the mayor and clerk to enter into a certain water service agreement. This is for an unincorporated property located at 7S731 Lynn Drive. This is Travis and Melissa Russell.
Thank you very much. Going to ask for a motion to approve resolution 2023-70, please. Thank you, trustee Martinez, and I heard a second by trustee Krusek. Any further discussion on this item? If our clerk would please call the roll.
Trustee Page,
Aye.
trustee Martinez.
Aye.
Trustee Blair,
Aye.
trustee Annalise.
Aye.
Trustee Krusek.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you all, everyone. Appreciate that. With no further business to discuss this evening, I would like to ask for a motion to adjourn our regular meeting of the mayor and board for the village of Woodridge. Motion?
So moved.
Thank you, trustee Krusek, and a second.
Second.
Thank you, trustee Annalise. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? No one's opposed, so thank you very much. The motion carries. The meeting is adjourned at 8:06 p.m. Please take great care, everyone, and thank you very much.